They found a way to come up with a result. So I think that they will turn up against Arsenal. That being said, Arsenal is a very tough opposition. The fact that Arsenal do not concede much is a big problem for us. Is a big problem for Chelsea. In my own opinion, I think that Arsenal will go there to win, but if they get a draw, they'll be satisfied as well because it's not particularly bad. It ensures that 6 points remains between both clubs because Chelsea look like Arsenal's biggest challengers, quote and unquote, this season now because Man City has snoozed, Liverpool is still snoozing, everybody's just snoozing. So if Arsenal do not lose, they maintain that 6 point gap and they're able to go about their business without any problem.
Afternoon, good day to our fans at home. Welcome to another episode of the Late Group Podcast. It's good to be back on the show, and with us today we have our in-house Arsenal fan, Tosin, is joining us for the first time in a long time. Tosin is joining us when Arsenal is beginning to peak form. Inka, what do you think?
That's what they do now. They run away when
today,
things are hard, and then when things are going
his
smoothly, they
presence
come back.
today is somehow. But in any case, Tosin, it's good to have you on the show again. And we have JD. JD is an Inter fan. Yinka is an Inter fan. Myself, I am a Milan fan, the current Kings of Milan. Today we'll be discussing a wide range of topics, and without wasting our time, I want us to go straight into the hot topic of the moment, which is Arsenal Football Club. Tosin, I'm starting with you. Sorry, I'm putting you on the spot straight away. A lot of things seem to be going your way this season. You are playing well, you are getting the results, your competitions are not staking a claim that we expect that they should. I know it's too early in the season, but do you see Arsenal going all the way this, especially in the Premier League?
Right. Thanks for having me. Good morning, everyone. I think Arteta has learned. That's what I can say. And all this boils down to the squad depth. Right. So if you look at the last season, where we had so many injuries in most of our the team. That's the forward, the midfield, the defense. And this season, it happened like that again. I think we had like 5 of our forward out for some time, and but we had Merino. But Ateta had to, what he has done is most of the teams that sits back, he has found a way to at least beat those teams. Yeah, if you look at last season, we played against Newcastle. I think we lost at St. James Park, but he has gone there this season. He looked for a way to win that game, and I think we played Fulham this season as well, and he played them last season. He lost. So the teams we've lost to last season, he has done something great against them, and it's not just all about starting level now. It's about the quality of the team. If you look at Martinelli last, he was a starter in the team, but this season he's been coming off the bench and he's been killing games off. Like the last game against Bayern Munich, Arteta said something. He said he brought in Martinelli and Calafiori. He said they are finishers. He didn't call them as a substitute. What does it mean by they are finishers? They are coming off to finish this game, kill the game, and which is what they did. So the quality of the team is really good right now, and I'm hoping they win a trophy at the end of the day.
Yinka, you can see the swagger in Tosin's response. That is the swagger of a table-topping team. But away from Arsenal for a minute, I want us to look at the competing teams, close challengers: City, Chelsea, Liverpool.
Liverpool is not close.
I think that's basically the closest challengers. They are all not pulling their weight. Sorry, Manchester United.
Liverpool are somewhere in
Do you at any point
call them close challenger?
Do you at any point see any of them coming to mount a serious challenge, or it's just going to be a walk in the park for Arsenal this season?
Well, it's hard to say at this point, but if we go by recent happenings, it will be hard for that to happen as well. Because just like Tosin rightly said, Arsenal have a bit of depth this season, and they basically corrected some of the issues that we thought they had. For example, we said Martinelli should not be a starter for that team. He should at best be coming off the bench. I'm saying with Odegaard, who has been missing, who I think would normally start, but thanks to injury, he has been missing more often than we would expect. And because of that, other players have come into the team and shown what they can offer, particularly easy. So they corrected some of the errors that we thought they had in the past, and it's starting to reap fruit. And when you add that to the fact that they have a very, very strong defensive depth, I think Arteta has figured out that the team that wins titles eventually will be the team that concedes the least. You either need to outscore everybody by a very wide margin, or you score as a normal team would, and you make sure that you concede very less. Arteta has gone for the latter, which means he intends to keep quite a number of clean sheets, or not concede as much as they would normally concede, and then gets 1 or 2 goals in every game. The most important thing is to get one more goal than your opponent in every game, and you get your 3 points. So he has learnt in that sense as well. When you add that to the fact that Man City are in a sort of rebuilding phase with all the players that they brought in over the summer and the kind of season that they had last season as well, it does not look like things are going well. The only team that we expected would give Arsenal a run for their money this season was Liverpool. And so far, Arne Slot has been the weapon fashioned against himself. Unless
They are
something
working.
drastic happens. And by drastic, I mean maybe World War III or something unlikely. I think Arsenal will end up with the
Or
title.
COVID.
Okay, it looks like Arsenal season, and if Arsenal eventually do win the title, we'll be happy. But JD, a
We
lot has
start
been
Samson.
said.
Okay.
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, my question is to JD now. A lot has been said about Arsenal's set piece dependence, set piece FC, corner FC. Tactically now, do you think Arteta has done anything different
That they can depend on in Zubimendi, and is able to dictate how the team plays, flow with the game. And then when you take out Odegaard is someone that I would like to call a football purist. Like, he likes to do everything the pure way. Oh, let's play triangles in midfield. It's beautiful to watch most of the time. But sometimes it doesn't really get the results that you want. But with
Yeah.
Odegaard mostly out of the team than is usually in, they have someone like Eze that can fill in. And Eze, I would say, is more direct, so to speak. Eze does not. Sometimes I watch Odegaard. Arsenal are on the counter, and Odegaard receives the ball and is supposed to just look for the next man almost immediately. Odegaard wants to hold on to it like 2 extra seconds or 3 others to make that play look more beautiful. But with Eze, he gets the ball and just gives it to the next man and then gets everything going. So the tactics for me remains the same, but the profiles, certain key profiles in that team have changed, and that allows the tactic work better. So that's the way I see it.
Tosin, so far this season, who do you think has been Arsenal's most important player?
That's really hard to say because it's a teamwork, and I wouldn't pick someone, but if I'm going to pick, I would pick Gabriel because he has scored some important goals. Part of the team that has kept how many clean sheets now? I think they've considered just 6 goals in the Premier League and just 1 goal in the Champions, which wasn't even there when they considered that goal. So I think I would pick Gabriel as the most important player. And won't forget Declan Rice as well. He's been very important to that team as well.
You can finally on Arsenal's case. Arsenal's good performance has made us forget about Victor Gyökeres, and that brother is just enjoying the low-key attention. Do you see him coming back to play an important role for Arsenal this? He has started on a very neither here nor there foot for Arsenal.
Well, I do think that his arrival or his performance at Arsenal so far has been underwhelming. He has not been great, but he has not been completely terrible. At least he got a few goals there and there. You wouldn't say he has been like an Alexander Isak, for example, at Liverpool, or a Benjamin Sesko at Manchester United. But at the same time, you would expect more from a striker of that caliber, considering the profile that he had before he joined Arsenal. So, but that being said, I still think that when he comes back is he back from the injury now? Okay. So when he does come back from injury, I still think he would be, a key in the sense that, and I also think that he's probably the only one that they don't have a direct backup for in that team. He's probably the only player. And the other players that I would say are
Even
backups would
replacement
be
is injured.
Kai
Havertz
Havertz and
is
Gabriel
injured.
Jesus. Kai Havertz is not an out-and-out striker like Gyökeres. He can play as a striker, but he's not an out-and-out striker. Gabriel Jesus is also not an out-and-out striker. He's a supporting striker at best. So, in terms of being a points man or a target man, Gyökeres is probably the only one in the Arsenal squad that I would say they might not have a direct replacement. So, in that sense, when he comes back, he will play. Now, it might need a bit of time to get used to Premier League pace, the way they play it. So far, it has not been particularly great, but I'm willing to give him one season, especially because with or without him, the team is doing well. So why not continue playing him? Let the team continue to do well, and hopefully with time, he can get up to pace with the rest of the squad. But if after a season the story remains the same, then we can start having discussions about him and saying, okay, we need to look at Gyökeres, especially if they now end up the season without winning anything, which is very unlikely anyway. But if that happens, then people start pointing fingers and say, okay, Gyökeres, this, that. But at the moment, leave it as it is. When he comes back, what's his name? Merino now. Put Merino back on the bench, let Gyökeres play, and then let them continue as they were before.
Okay, finally, before we move to Liverpool, Tosin, just to build on what Yinka has said, with or without Gyökeres, when does Arsenal play better? Do you play better with him or without him? At least you've seen both scenarios now.
As a striker, I think we play better with, and I'm just going to give you reasons why I play better with him. If you look at last season, we have men actually on Saka, Martinelli, and Co. But this season, when we have Gyökeres, it draws attention. If you look at the game, it draws attention. It brings those defense to himself, which makes Saka's game better and Trossard and Martinelli's game better. So I think with Gyökeres in the team, we play better because it draws attention from other players going on to mark Saka. That's all those 3 players and 4 players marking Saka. So Gyökeres is very, very important to us.
And
Anyways,
sorry to cut in,
okay,
just to add to what Tosin said, I think it was Erling Haaland that said when one reporter was questioning him the number of touches that he had in the game and how he was not particularly always involved in team build-up and stuff like that. And Haaland's response was, "But I make runs. Do you think that some of those runs are completely useless?" Sometimes when a striker makes runs, he tends to draw defenders out of place.
yeah,
He tends to move players, he tends to move pieces out of place. So sometimes it's not always in the way that you contribute when you have the ball. Sometimes it can be off the ball. In that sense, I agree with Tosin because Gyökeres' presence as a striker will still make a striker's movement, unlike a midfielder. You'd notice that Merino tends to drop deep, wants to be involved in play, which means that defenders are able to, easily they are calmer because they don't have that focal presence in front that they need to worry about. But with a striker, they tend to worry more. If you notice, I can't remember the game now. There was one game that I watched recently. I think it was either in the Champions League or the league that the coach removed his strikers. I think they were in they were no, I can't remember. Maybe it was Nigeria versus Congo when Osimhen came out. When Osimhen was in, I think it was Nigeria versus Congo. When Osimhen was in that game, even though Osimhen had not scored, he was not particularly great in that first half that he played. But because he was a striker in that team and he had the movement of strikers, those Congolese defenders were more cautious. The moment he came out, the Congolese defenders had almost nothing to worry about. Same thing happened between Inter and Lazio in 2018, if I remember very well. The moment Simone Inzaghi took Ciro Immobile off, Lazio were leading that game and Inter needed to win. The moment he took Ciro Immobile off, Inter grew in confidence. The likes of Miranda, Skriniar were able to be more expressive and they came out and Inter ended up winning the game. A striker's presence is always very important. But obviously, at the end of the day, we still need goals from strikers, which is what he will be judged on eventually.
Anyways, enough said about Arsenal. Let us move to the club that was supposed to be the biggest challenger and many tipped them to actually retain the title this. And I'm talking about the Merseyside Liverpool FC, who has been walking alone, they've been drowning alone, and they've been beaten alone so far this season. Will they sack Arne Slot? Let's start from there. I can't hear you. I think you're mute.
Sorry, I was on mute. At this point, I think those discussions need to be on the table. There's definitely no way that you would not be considering it because
Hey,
we're not talking about.
him and bring me.
Hold on. We're not talking about a situation where they lose one, then win 3, then lose another one, then win maybe another 3, draw one in between. They're having strings of losses.
They are losing.
They are losing
like
at home.
like a bottom
They are
table
losing
team.
to teams that they are not expected to lose to, and they are losing to those teams at home. I mean, they lost to Nottingham Forest 3-0 at home. They lost to PSV Eindhoven 4-1. And before that, they had gone 6 losses in 7 games or thereabout. And this is a manager that you spent close to 500 million for in the transfer market. So you need to have those discussions. And we're not even talking about, because I know people will point at Pep Guardiola last season and say, oh, Guardiola had a similar run. But Guardiola had bought credits 7 seasons in the past. He had won 4
For
Premier
9
League
years. For 9 years.
So Guardiola had credits, enough credits to and Slot has not particularly built that credit to say, okay, let's trust this guy and give it. Because if you look at it, the squad that he won the Premier League with last season was basically Jurgen Klopp's squad. Now that they've handed the reins to him and said, okay, pick your players, we're ready to back you with money, he has messed everything up. So I think they need to start considering it. Personally, I'll give him, in fact, I don't think I want to give him anything. I think it's done.
You should go now.
I think it's done too much. I think they need to go. He needs to go.
If he goes now, who do you want to bring? That's the biggest question. Who do you want to?
Well, There are coaches all over Europe. It's a matter of maybe wanting to trigger anybody. They might look into maybe getting someone that's currently on the job. A Simone Inzaghi might be tempted, for example, if they consider him. I don't know if you'll be willing to leave those Al Hilal millions, but Simone Inzaghi is a very good coach. He might not have certain mentalities that I expect from an elite coach, but he's a good coach, and I think he will do well, except for the language barrier. But there are coaches. I think people bother themselves too much with, oh, what's going to happen if we take this decision? And just take that decision and focus on what you need to do later.
Tosin, I know you are happy with Liverpool's slump, but now let's discuss holistically. What is Liverpool's problem? In your own opinion, what do you consider?
The coach has not made bad decisions on the players he bought. For example, Van Dijk is getting old, we know, and he doesn't have any replacements. Last season, Salah was the main guy in that team. He was the one scoring goals, carrying the team along. But this season, I think he has passed his best. So he does not have a replacement. And to me, I think he bought the wrong players. For example, Florian Wirtz that he bought. Wenger mentioned one thing. I don't know how Wenger heard or knew about it. He said Florian Wirtz was enticed with the position of number 10 to come join Liverpool. And if you look at him, he's going to destabilize that midfield of Mark Alistair, is it Gravenberg and Zoboslai. And yeah. So, and he started using Florian Wirtz in that midfield, and they've been losing games. The defense has been really bad. Konate has been really bad. They lost Alisson. He brought in
Van
Keskes to
Dijk has
replace.
been really bad. Van Dijk has been really bad. Which one is Konate? Is it only Konate you see there?
No, they have been really bad. He brought in Keskes
Checkers.
to replace what's
Danku,
his name, Robertson, and their main
Newton,
guy, what's his name, Arnold as well, left the club. Because if you look at Salah's game, Arnold's pass also contributed to Salah's game. If you look at him, so they've lost this guy as well. So the recruitment has been really bad. He bought is it a TTK or so, what's his name? Good player. Then I don't really know why he needed what's his name? Isaac. So many things
statement
that he has done so many things wrong, and I think it's really affecting the team at the moment. He didn't keep to that last season team, and he sold Diaz as well. So he didn't replace the team the way he's supposed to replace those players.
well,
So it's been really bad for him.
Ahmed, if you are on Arne Slot's technical team today, what would you be telling him? Can Ahmed hear me?
Yes, I can.
Is Ahmed with us?
Ahmed is talking now. We can hear Ahmed. At least I can hear him.
I can't hear Ahmed.
I can hear
you
him
hear
now.
me?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
So let me.
Okay, I can't hear Ahmed. I can't even see
Let
him.
him go ahead. When he's done, we'll let you know.
Yeah, go ahead, Ahmed.
I think it needs to go back to what one of them made many changes at the same time. Right now, but those guys I understand he has an Arnold likes of Robertson who are very much other bench guys. But now I think Robertson should come back, go with the guys that I said before now, and start bringing guys gradually in the season. We should take a step back, bring in Florian Wirtz should sit for now. Keke should sit for now, except what's it called? Gapo and the like. They were the guys that were during the course of last. So except in central forward position where he has new guys, probably have to go ahead getting used to the system. Unlike Isak, I think he should start from there gradually. He should also lay huge emphasis on defending. I think there are way too much chances to, regardless of the caliber of team they are playing. I saw their game against Frank, what's it called, PSV during, and I was like, how would you concede more chances again? Don't start gradually. Forget about their pass. They should start gradually. Be in tune with reality right now. Do you need to pack the bus? If that start from there and build back that confidence and take with one or two, your confidence will surely get back. So I think that's the direction they should.
See, I don't even think it's as complicated as packing the ball, stage change. Just go back to last season's formation. That because I'm looking at some of their games now. They've lost how many games in the last 10? Maybe we lost like 7 or thereabout. And 2 of their best performances in those 10 games were against Aston Villa and against Real Madrid. If you look at the starting 11 in both games, at least 9 of those players were from last season. Those were the games that he started Robertson, started Bradley, Konate, Van Dijk, Gravenberch, McAllister, Zoboslai, Salah. The only 2 new players that started were Wirtz on the left wing and Ekitike as the striker. That's against Real Madrid. Now, against Aston Villa, almost the same thing. Bradley, Konate, Van Dijk, Robertson, Gravenberch, McAllister, Zoboslai, Mohamed Salah, This time, Gakpo on the left wing, Ekitike on the right wing. What that tells me is that with last season's team, there's still a bit of understanding, there's still a bit of unity, and they know what to do. You cannot just uproot everything from last season and say because they've given you shiny toys, and then you just want to introduce all of those shiny toys as well. I mean, we were speaking before we started recording this morning, and we said if it was a Serie A team that got all of these shiny toys, or a Serie A manager that got all of these shiny toys, most of them will probably not get their debut until middle of December, because a Serie A manager will keep telling you that they are not ready. They are not ready. We need to introduce them carefully. We need to do this. We need to do that. So at this point, you need to really sit down and reflect and say, okay, do I really need to play Isaac, Ekitike, Vets? Do I really need to play all of them at once? I know that there's pressure on you to do that, but do you really need to do that? So I don't know what Tosin has to say about this, but what are your thoughts regarding the way forward for Arne Slot now? Should he go back? Because sometimes you need to go back before you can see front.
You said everything quite all right. He needs to go back to his previous starting 11. But if you look at it as well, some of these players, they've dropped, like they are not playing like last season. I think apart from Gakpo, that has been serious this season. Salah has really dropped form and is not really helping the team at all. Van Dijk as well, he has lost as far as I'm concerned. Konate, he has always been there, always been there. He's not a top that far as I'm
Konate is
concerned.
having too much.
Thank you.
So no, I believe Konate is not a top defender. I don't know
Van
where you
Dijk
people
is
are seeing
the
it
poor
from.
defender. Van Dijk is the poor defender. Van Dijk, go. Is the poor
Van
defender.
Dijk has lost
He
quite all right.
never
If you
had
look
it.
at it now,
Van
even
Dijk
with
never had
Madrid,
it.
Well,
Van
I think that
Dijk never had
you
it.
guys are making too much individual analysis. I still think that regardless of whether these players have dropped or not, as a collective, they can still achieve something. Use that last season's team. At least what you still have from last season, use them. You should be able to get results with. I mean, they beat Real Madrid with last season's team. They beat Aston Villa with last season's team. Why you then facing
They've lost.
Nottingham Forest in the next game, and then you just, in fact, let me see what they played. I think it was Nottingham Forest. It was City they played next. They lost. I think they played relatively well against City, but they lost against City. But if you look at that City game now, he then brought back Vets. Okay, he used the same team against City, but City overwhelmed them. But against Nottingham Forest, I'm coming, just give me one moment. Against Nottingham Forest, you then bring back Isaac, you bring back Jones, you put Soboslai on the right back. You're tweaking so many things. What?
if I'm going to ask one question, was last season for Arne Slot or
Last season was not a fluke. Last season was tactical brilliance, and I can explain some elements to you. Last season they had Gravenberch, McAllister, and Soboslai in the midfield. Those are three hard-working midfielders, three creative midfielders, and three goal threats. Those guys were the ones covering.
They could do it all.
They could score with either feet, and they were fit for a larger part of the season. In attack, they had Luis Diaz. Last season's Liverpool relied heavily on pressing, and that was where Luis Diaz came in. Salah is not a pressing machine. Luis Diaz, Jota, and Salah. Once in a while, you see Darwin Núñez in centre forward, but they could press. This season, you have Gakpo. Gakpo cannot press. You have Ekitiman. Ekitiman cannot press like Diaz, and you have a Salah that has been a liability for a while now, but he contributes in attack. In defense, because Arne Slot saw a new wife in Kekes, he benched Robertson. And for whatever reason, I don't know why, he decided to unleash all his new toys at the same time. He started with Kekes and Frimpong. Those guys.
Kekes has been underwhelming, by the way. Very underwhelming since they bought him.
The changes were too much. At right back,
and
they
what's
lost something.
this idea with playing Zoboslai at right back?
I don't understand it either. There is this guy on the bench, this English defender that is always getting injured. What's his name?
Bradley.
No.
No, what's his name? I know the guy is talking about. I can't remember his name now. This one that is always injured. Gomez. That is always injured.
There's Gomez on the bench. Gomez can play as a right back. Why are you playing your most important midfielder at right back? Then you put Florian Wirtz. That guy is always busy. I mean, it's sad. There's a tactical quagmire at Liverpool. It's just that if they sack him after one season, then.
Well, Jamie Carragher said Liverpool is not a sacking club, so let's enjoy him till the end of.
Yeah, I'm even happy that Jamie Carragher
are they not 11?
12.
I don't even know.
All right. I think he's trying to beat Man U's record from last season. He's trying to beat Man U's record from last season.
Yinka, Chelsea Arsenal tomorrow.
That's another interesting game. It's
Chelsea
tomorrow,
are
Abi. I
coming.
even thought it was today.
Chelsea are coming from the back. Chelsea are coming from the back of an impressive win against a struggling Barcelona. Let's be sincere. And Arsenal are also coming off the back of a great win against Bayern. Who is at home?
Beating by
Chelsea will be at home.
Chelsea will be at home. What are your thoughts on that match? For me, I see a straightforward Arsenal win. For me,
I think it's going to be a very tight game. And the reason I think it will be a tight game is
I swear,
because
I don't see anything tight in that match. I don't know why. I don't see anything tight. I feel Arsenal will just move.
let me land now. Let me land. I think it will be tight because Chelsea have flattered to deceive a few times this season. But against big club, Chelsea have always found a way. I think they've beaten Liverpool already this season. They've beaten Barca. They beat PSG obviously in the Club World Cup final. Almost all the big teams that they faced this season,
Tottenham Hotspur as
they
well.
found a way to come up with a result. So I think that they will turn up against Arsenal. That being said, Arsenal is a very tough opposition. The fact that Arsenal do not concede much is a big problem for us. Is a big problem for Chelsea. In my own opinion, I think that Arsenal will go there to win, but if they get a draw, they'll be satisfied as well because it's not particularly bad. It ensures that 6 points remains between both clubs because Chelsea look like Arsenal's biggest challengers, quote and unquote, this season now because Man City has snoozed, Liverpool is still snoozing, everybody's just snoozing. So if Arsenal do not lose, they maintain that 6 point gap and they're able to go about their business without any problems. So there's a bit of more pressure on Chelsea to win the game than Arsenal. I always give clubs that have stronger defense the chance. So I think Arsenal might be slight favorite, but all the same, I would not also write Chelsea off. In my opinion, I think it will end in a draw.
Ahmed,
well, Arsenal has all the right side should have. If you look at this Arsenal side, defend and attack wise, they don't even need to create much. They are set right now. They can get that any situation. Understand? In fact, they have the best goal difference right now. I think they are seen there. Looking at this fact, Chelsea, yes, won in Barcelona, but like you said, rightly said, Barcelona, the same side. I think Arsenal will definitely stamp this. Something I'm not very sure why.
Tosin, bless us with
What is this about?
closing words on this debate.
It's a London derby, so definitely it's going to be a tough. Yes, for the past how many games now, we've not lost against Chelsea, and I still expect us to still keep that as well. But going there to win, I can't certainly say as a fan that we'll go there to win. But the factors will say Arsenal were expected to win that game, and I hope we're able to win that game. But if you look at it, Chelsea as well, they are not a small team. They are in form. You can't expect any type of starting 11 from them. Today you can see different type of players coming in, and we don't even know their starting 11. They have different players that can play for them. They have the squad depth as well, but hopefully we expect Arsenal to at least come out with a point and not lose in that stadium.
Okay, like Yinka rightly said, in this kind of title race, a draw at Stamford Bridge would not hurt much. A loss will be damaging both statistically and psychologically. So I think Arsenal might end up being cautious and avoiding a loss if the game continues in a stalemate at least for like 60-70 minutes. Moving on to the Champions League. There was the Champions League last week and there were a couple of interesting and surprising results. Manchester City lost at home to Leverkusen. Guardiola rotated about 10 players in that match for whatever reason. This is best known to him. Inter lost in the 90th minute to Atletico Madrid. Inter lost to their future coach at Wanda Metropolitano, courtesy of a 93rd minute Jimenez header. Real Madrid won with a knife in their teeth away at Olympiacos. Very interesting match, 4-3. Mbappe scored an hat-trick in that match. Chelsea...
Was it a hat-trick or a poker?
He scored a poker. Thank you for that. Chelsea dismantled Barcelona at Stamford Bridge. Arsenal ended Bayern's unbeaten run, and they were that small teams doing battle against themselves. But interestingly, Napoli won. Napoli defeated Carragher, I think by 2-0. Juventus came back against Bodo Glimt in the ice-cold region in Norway. The Champions League is taking shape gradually. Top 8 teams are beginning to find their feet. But we still have teams like Liverpool who are struggling. Liverpool lost emphatically to PSV. I mean, they were properly beaten. I saw the match and there was no There was no fluke about that match. But transiting away from the Champions League, there was no fluke. They were well beat. Transiting away from the Champions League, I want us to focus on what is happening at Real Madrid and Alonso. There are news that Vinicius is not renewing. Senior players are not happy with Alonso. Tosin, in your opinion, is it too early to dismantle this marriage between Alonso and Real?
I wouldn't say so because I believe Real Madrid they are trying to rebuild, and Alonso has his own tactics. He has his own favored players. If you remember when he came in, he wasn't using what's his name, Rodrigo. Rodrigo was thinking of leaving and not leaving, and now as well he has favored players. So and he's been winning. Yeah, it's been on and off. The gameplay sometimes have been somehow. But in La Liga, they've not been doing bad. Even
They are
Champions
top
League
of the
as well,
table.
they've not been bad. Sorry? So they are top of the table in La Liga. And if you look at the Champions League as well, they've not been doing bad. They've been playing well. And you can't just because of some of the players. A player is not bigger than the club, they always say. And the manager always asks, as far as the manager is doing well, definitely you can't end anything with the manager. The manager is doing a good job.
Nika, do you see Perez siding with the players?
One of the most unpredictable football presidents in the world is Florentino Perez. So it's hard to say what he will do. But what is happening at Real Madrid at this time is not something that's particularly surprising because I think we mentioned it on this show a few episodes ago, just after Xabi Alonso was hired, that he might have a bit of a problem with some of those players, particularly because Xabi Alonso is the coach. But
Yeah,
what Real Madrid needs most of the time is
the
a
manager.
manager because Real Madrid often look to go into the transfer market to get some of the best players in their position. And those players do not, all players need to be coached one way or another, but those players do not need coaching in the sense that you have to micromanage everything that they do. And because of the type of coach that Xabi Alonso is, it does look like that is what he's doing. And there's no way that it's not going to cause a rift between him and some of these players. That being said, if Real Madrid decide to take the side of the players in this supposed rift that they have with the coach, I think it sends a wrong message because what it tells everyone is that the players are more powerful than the manager, and I don't think that the club wants that. So I think that the club, one of another reason that this is particularly gaining traction in the news is because the club is not doing well result wise. I mean, before they won 4-3, was it Olympiacos in the Champions League? They had gone about 3 games without winning a game. I think it was 2 losses and a draw. And when results are not going well, certain bad situations tend to be amplified even more. So I think that Real Madrid will ride the wave for now, that results become better. I'm very certain that when results get better, say they win 7 games in a row, which is almost the same thing that is going on with Arsenal and Joker. When results are good, people will not focus on certain things that are not particularly going well because, like we all said, Joker has not lived up to the expectation. It's the same thing with Real Madrid now. If the results are there, say they win 7 games in a row, nobody's going to talk about most of this rift. It's just going to be rumors here and there. That allows Real Madrid the time to carefully analyze the situation and decide who they want to go with. Even before Xabi Alonso came, Vinicius Jr. has always been a crybaby, so to speak. Real Madrid will probably be thinking, this guy has been doing this before now. Do we particularly think that it's the coach that is making him doing it now, or it is just part of him? But at the same
Or
time,
is
there
it
are
not
other players
special?
like Valverde, Jude Bellingham that have been reported that they've reported that they are not happy with the coaching system. I think they will ride the wave, see how things go. If results get better, they are just going to probably use PR to kill all of that and say, oh, it was just nothing happened between us. People were just saying rubbish, blah, 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 blah. But if results do not improve, they then have grounds to say, okay, Alonso, it's time to go. But at that point, they will not be saying we are sacking you because the players do not like your tactic. They'll say we are
They will
sacking
say
you
trust
because
issues.
results have not been going well. So I think that's what they're going to do. They'll just ride the wave, see how things go over maybe by January, see where they are, and then maybe make a decision then.
Interesting situation, considering the fact that Vinicius has said he's not renewing. Like
I don't
Nika
know what's
said,
wrong with that guy.
he's Brazilian. Their attention span is very short.
I mean, we've seen players come and go, players that are way more talented than Vinicius, players that have played for Real Madrid, and they don't even throw this tantrum.
So
Yes, we understand that there's not a bit of, there's the racism angle. We all take a side in most of those cases. But apart from the racism part, Vinicius himself is not particularly a role model.
at all, he throws too much tantrum. Okay, moving on from Alonso and his Real Madrid debacle. Let's just talk on Serie A briefly. In Serie A, it's been a funny race to say the least. Top teams are swapping positions like on a weekly basis. And currently we have Como. Como are just 3 points behind the league leaders. Says Fabregas Como. And sometimes you watch Como and your eyes can bleed sometimes. I call him the Antonio Conte of Spanish football. Anyways, Milan defeated Inter last week in the Milan derby, a very interesting derby at that. And this weekend, Milan is playing host to Lazio at the San Siro. Milan has been the Robin Hood of the league so far. Take from the big teams and give to the small teams. Even though Lazio is not particularly small, many would expect Milan to struggle against them, considering how we have played against smaller teams. But Inter will be going away to Pisa. I can't remember who Napoli is playing. I can't remember who Juventus is playing. But Inca, what is happening in the camp of Juventus? They've changed managers.
Juventus are playing Cagliari. Napoli will be facing Roma, league leaders, at the Olimpico.
Inca was happening with Juventus. They've changed managers. Results have not been great.
Results have still not improved. The performance has still not improved. Like I've always said, I still think that Juventus is a profiling problem. I think that they have quite decent players, at least players that should comfortably fight for top four. I do not think that they have players that can fight for the Scudetto, but they have players that can comfortably fight for top four, but they are still not doing, they are still not doing enough, or it does not look like they are doing well, or they want to, really qualify for that Champions League next season. But like I said, I think that their problem is a problem of profiling. I mean, right now they have Coop Miners playing at left centre back.
60 million midfielders.
And their entire argument for playing Coop Miners at left centre back is that he once played as a defender. Now, you're saying someone once played as a defender.
At AZ
Since then, he has played about 3 or 4 seasons at Atalanta as a midfielder. After that, you bought him from Atalanta because you wanted to, increase the quality of your midfield. And you've played him in your midfield for about 1.5 seasons, only to suddenly decide that, this guy will be best placed if he will perform better if he plays as a left centre back, the same position that I had not played for about 7 years now. So it does, as far as I'm concerned, that's proper misprofiling. You've misprofiled the player, and you can say the same for almost all of the players that they have. They have McKennie, who is naturally a midfielder. I think they bought him from Schalke, I know it was from the German Bundesliga. He was a midfielder. He plays in midfield for his national team, even to date. And sometimes you have him switching between wing back and midfield. At Juventus, no standard position. You have Udis, who is a winger, but plays almost like a trequartista. This, for Juventus. You have Conceição, who is a winger, but plays almost as a trequartista in their 3-4-2-1 formation. So there's a lot of square pegs in roundos in that team. And at the end of the day, it's always having an adverse result on the team. And I think that's what they can change coaches from now till tomorrow. It's one of the things that we said about Gyökeres and Arsenal. I keep coming back to Gyökeres and Arsenal. When you asked Tosin if Arsenal play better without Gyökeres a striker will play as a striker. So rather than play a midfielder in striking position, play a striker there. It might not be performing as well as they should, but in most cases, it will perform more than a midfielder should in that position. If you have a right fullback, play a right fullback in the right fullback position. Same thing with Szoboszlai. You are playing your best midfielder at right back. Why are you misprofiling players? Everybody wants to be over tactical these days. He's a midfielder. He can add more bodies to midfield when we are without possession. Just play the player where he's stronger. Simple. So I think that Juventus has a lot of, that problem. Also added to the fact that they lost their best defender, which is Bremer. Obviously, Bremer alone does not do the job, but he's still an added quality. So they lost that as well. Their strikers have not been performing well. They bought Openda and Jonathan David. Those two in fact, they scored in the Champions League, but before then, they had gone several games without even scoring a single goal. So those ones are even having a hard time settling down. And then Vlahovic, whose mind is neither here or there, he does not know if he'll sign a new contract or he'll leave the club. And then you are putting the reins of the club in his hand to lead the attack in most of the games. So everything is just messy at the moment.
Anyways, we hope they resolve their issues soon. It will be a huge loss if they don't make the Champions League. It's looking like
huge loss for
the league. It will be a huge loss for the league. You can see it will be a huge loss for the league. Let me tell you why. This season's Champions League now, we have who do we have here? Only Inter,
Juve, Milan,
Juventus,
Juve, Inter, and Atalanta.
Atalanta. Whether you like it or not, Atalanta is a weak. Atalanta is not our best leg going to the Champions League. It weakens
But
our position.
Juve is currently in this same Champions League, and they just won their first game in match day 5.
Weakens our position. It's better we have Napoli, Milan, Inter, and Juve. Those are first
Let
chop teams.
anybody that deserves it come and play. I mean, Atalanta were relegation battlers. Forget the fact that Atalanta are not doing well this. They were relegation battlers about 10 seasons ago. But then
Yeah,
over the years, they became a team that you can at least be scared of to an extent. At the end of the day, they ended up winning the Europa League about 2 seasons ago. They've been constantly coming to the Champions League at least, and you would expect a club of Atalanta's stature to. And I think they got to the quarterfinal at some point, if I'm not mistaken. Let your best legs come. Right now, Atalanta is not one of our best legs, obviously, because their project has taken a huge hit with the departure of Gasperini,
Gasperini.
Retegui, and Ademola Lookman is not particularly, in the right frame of mind right now. So they are not doing well. They now got a Juric that does not even know what he's doing. So Atalanta cannot be used as an example of why, Juventus should always come to the Champions. Juventus is in this Champions League and they are not even doing well.
Anyways, our best wishes are with Juventus. To our fans at home, we say a very big thank you. We appreciate your support. Our social media handles remains the same, the Late Group Podcast, on all social media platforms. Also on YouTube, kindly subscribe so that you have first-hand access to our videos when they are released. We say thank you to our panelists. Let us have a great weekend. To our Arsenal fan,
Ciao, ciao.
we wish you all the best on March day 30.
Ciao, ciao.